When did you last commit to something you didn't fully understand? A career, a path, a version of your life that you would spend years, decades building toward before you ever truly reckoned with what it felt like to live inside it. For hundreds of thousands of students in medicine, in nursing, in pharmacy, in dentistry, that commitment happens early, sometimes 17, 18 years old. You pick a direction, you build a story about who you'll become, and then you work with singular dedication to get there. But here's what no one tells you. Working hard to reach something is very different from knowing if you truly want it. A few years into my pre-dental journey, during a shadowing experience, my dentist said something that stood out to me. I never saw a tooth walk into my office. Now, at first, it sounded comical, absurd even, but then it settled in because that one sentence contains everything that classroom learning, science prerequisites, and GPA optimization simply cannot teach you. No patient is just a procedure. Every person who sits in that chair carries something with them: memory, trust, sometimes even fear. The clinical decision you make touches a human being contending with all of that, often at the very same moment. I did not learn that from a textbook. I learned it by being in the room. Now, I want to be clear, this is not a problem endemic to dentistry. Think about any profession defined by deep human stewardship: medicine, law, teaching, for instance. Any field where the distance between what students imagine the work to be and what professionals actually live is consequential and almost entirely imperceptible. We ask young individuals to commit before they can truly know, and then we act surprised when some of them arrive, sometimes years later, feeling like they are somehow misaligned with the path they chose. How does anyone really discover whether a path is theirs? Not by reading about it, not by watching someone else do it from a distance, but by doing it, by getting close enough to the work to feel its weight, by making real decisions in real environments, guided by someone who has already weathered those mistakes and is candid enough to say, I endured this, so maybe you don't have to. That's mentorship. The best mentors have a particular acuity. They see things in you that you have difficulty seeing in yourself. They discern a capability, a latent potential, before you have any idea it exists, and they nudge you gently toward it. They don't try to create you in their own image. As Steven Spielberg once put it, the delicate balance of mentoring someone is not creating them in your own image, but giving them the opportunity to create themselves. They also protect you, not by shielding you from difficulty, but by sharing their own. The struggles you will face as a professional, the hard cases, the self-doubt, the moments you question everything. Most of them have been traversed before by somebody who persevered, and the profound comfort of knowing you are not alone in that someone beside you has been exactly where you are and is still standing, redefines what you believe is possible for yourself. And mentors show up not just when you succeed. They are the first ones celebrating when you do, but they also show up when you don't, when you fall short, when you falter professionally or personally. A true mentor is the person you trust enough to share even the hardest moments with. That relationship is rare, and it is irreplaceable. There's a concept in Latin, quid pro quo, this for that. But in mentorship, it takes on a different meaning entirely. Anyone who has been truly mentored cannot help but pay it forward, because the impact is indelible, so formative, so deeply human, that keeping it to yourself begins to feel like a kind of theft. When I started looking for something to bridge the gap between knowing about a profession I was interested in pursuing and actually experiencing it at the pre-professional level, I found close to nothing. Sure, students could shadow, observe, read, study, but observation is not experience. You cannot read your way into readiness. You cannot shadow your way into certainty. You have to be in the room. Aristotle understood this over 2,000 years ago. He wrote, "For the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them." 2,000 years later, we are still building systems that forget it. I wanted to step into the shoes of a dentist before I committed to becoming one, to feel what it felt like to hold an instrument, to understand what my hands would be asked to do for the rest of my professional life. So I searched for months for opportunities where a pre-dental student could get genuine hands-on experience before dental school. And when I couldn't find what I needed, I stopped looking and started building. Together with my fantastic mentor, dentist Dr. Melvin Lee, we created the Pre-Dental Study Collective, a mentorship-driven network where hands-on experience is at the core. Through the collective, students in high school and university get the rare chance to place composite fillings on study models, learn about oral surgery by extracting teeth from pig jaws, and learn how to take dental impressions. These are experiences pre-dental students rarely access before dental school, not shadowing, not observing, but doing. And here's the outcome that surprised almost everyone. The most important result, the one I'm most proud of, was not the students who confirmed that dentistry was the right path for them. It was the students who discovered it wasn't. And that is success, because healthcare should never be entered by happenstance. It should be entered with clarity, with intention, and with purpose. The student who walks away from a path they weren't right for protects themselves, and they protect the future patients who would have sat in their chair. There is a bigger idea underpinning all of this. Access to care matters, but access to prepared caregivers matters just as much, because expanding the number of providers without expanding their depth of understanding risks turning healthcare into a service instead of a relationship. Mentorship closes that gap. The things that cannot be tested, the things that only transfer through relationship, through someone willing to say, this is what this work is actually feels like, and now decide. Dr. Lee taught me something I have never forgotten. Patient-centered, relationship-based care is not learned through a textbook. It is absorbed through proximity to someone who lives it every single day. You never treat just a tooth. You treat a person and a story. So ask yourself, are you committing to something you don't yet fully understand? Do you have a mentor who will stand beside you in the darkness, willing to illuminate the path ahead? And hopefully one day you will be that person for someone else. Thank you very much.